Hey, Arson.
Hey, Arson. Hi, Naval. Thank you for bringing me up. My question to you is uh, see, there is a difference, as you told, in wealth and richness. So, wealth is mostly hidden, right? People cannot see people's wealth because it is hidden somewhere. You can see only richness, the people who spend on expensive things. So, how do we learn if we cannot see something? How do we learn to build wealth? As you have laid down the timeless principles, but do you have any model how to emulate people, not exactly copy, but how to take inspiration from people who are actually wealthy?
Yeah, it's kind of a generic question. I'll try and get into it. I'm going to put you back in the audience for 1 sec, though, just to make it faster. Okay. So, you're talking about wealth and kind of status signaling and sort of money signaling. They are different things, but just because you can't see something doesn't mean that there's something wrong. I mean, you can't see people's character either, but it's a real thing, and it takes time to figure that out. I don't think you should necessarily be trying to emulate other people, and you certainly shouldn't be trying to emulate wealthy people. Wealth doesn't make people better, it just kind of makes them more of who they are. So there are some people who are jerks, and wealth makes them bigger jerks, and some people who are always kindly inclined, and wealth gives them the ability to be kinder. So I actually never looked up to wealthy people, and I never tried to emulate them. It didn't matter to me what somebody else had. In fact, emulating someone is almost a form of envy, or at least it's sort of in that same domain where you're being mimetic, you're copying other people. Even if other people were richer than me, as long as I could obtain the things that I wanted, and what I want is freedom in my life, and the freedom comes from being able to afford the things that I want without having to worry about them, then I would be satisfied with that. So at least to some level, there's always a mimetic portion, but I'm just saying don't fixate on that. Don't try to make it worse than it already is. Humans are already mimetic status-seeking creatures by default, and then we can rise above that through our rationality. I wouldn't double down on it. So don't idolize wealthy people, nor try to figure out how wealthy they are, nor figure out how to try and imitate them. I think rather it boils down to just figuring out, okay, um, how do I become the best version of myself? And in wealth creation, the best version of yourself is one who is you're using your mind, you're using your natural born talents, you are staying on the frontier and the edge, you're following your own curiosity, you're doing things that are come easier to you than they come to other people. You're applying the principles of leverage and accountability and specific knowledge wherever possible. You're trying to do it in a long-term way where you're collaborating with the same people over and over, that you trust and that you like working with, and you're taking a very long-term view so you can compound it, and then at the end of it you're kind of going to get what you deserve. You're going to get what you can express, and I guarantee you that if you stick to these principles and you're patient, you'll get more than you need to spend to sustain the lifestyle that brings you freedom. So what somebody else has and how they got there just isn't relevant. You can't copy them, and there is a lot of this sort of hero worship, wealth worship, another form of pornography where you can just stare at it all day long and you get some titillation out of it and you think you're accomplishing something, but you actually aren't accomplishing anything. You can't copy anyone on their way to greatness in anything. It's really just about flowering in your own best way. And I hate to even use that word. I mean, it shows I've been hanging around these spiritual types too long. But, it's just about self-expression at the end of the day. So I would say don't worry about how wealthy other people are or even how they got there. Just focus on how you yourself can be the most effective. I was always a very impatient individual because I was keenly aware of my goals and how quickly time was going away, how it was slipping away, and I needed to get there while I was still young enough to enjoy my freedom. And so I was always very, very driven, and I had no time to read books about other people getting wealthy. It's very hard to speak in the abstract about wealth creation. There's only a very few concrete principles you can put out there. Now, in this modern day and age, the leverage that's available to any given human is far greater than it's ever been. You can go on Clubhouse, you can talk to thousands of people, you can put out a tweet that can reach millions of people, you can write a piece of code that can be runs on millions of machines. You can, invest in with crypto and with venture capital and all these other asset classes. You can invest in thousands or tens of thousands of businesses. You have millions of books at your disposal. You have a million podcasts at your disposal. everything is available to you. Everything is out there, both to consume and to produce. If you're sufficiently driven and impatient, you will figure out how to navigate your way through that ecosystem. And it is very dynamic and very evolving. If I sat you down in a class and taught you details, by the time I finished the last class, the first one would already be obsolete. It's a moving, slippery target. So you kind of have to just get out there, throw yourself in the fray, and just do your best. Don't worry about other people.